Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So today, it's a light news day, but things are looking good. Bitcoin's up a little bit from yesterday. Altcoins are doing pretty well too, so that's why I felt it's a good time to talk about must-hold altcoins, ones that I really support and love, and I do believe these 10 are must-hold going forward. And also, there's a few other things I want to address. So thanks for tuning in. As always, smash a like, subscribe to the channel. 2 streams every day, 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. All right, guys, lively crowd once again. Let's do this. There is something I need to address because I feel like it may be getting out of hand. And let me change my screen here first. So, yeah, the first thing I want to address is I've been hearing a lot of spamming of I am George or George in general on BitBoy's channel. I know that at first it's kind of funny and it's humbling that you guys would do that, but it's getting to a point where it sounds like it's gone too far. So I do want to say that if you guys are doing it intentionally or you're just supporting me, I would say cool it down, because if it's starting to affect his show, that means it's probably going too far, right? And I heard he banned George altogether from the live chat. So yeah, so I would tell you guys, don't spam other people's chat. Don't spam it to the point where it gets them to ban the word George. That's a bit too much. That's a bit too much. All right, so that's the first thing I want to address. Second thing is, of course, Bitcoin. Bitcoin's at 39,000. It pushed above 40,000 once again. Remember, I've been making a big deal about this max pain price of Bitcoin options being at $50,000 tomorrow. Are we going to get there? Well, Bitcoin needs to make some moves for the rest of the day. Can it get to 42, 43? Oh, hold on. I'm back. Sorry. I let my dog out. Can we see it push past 42, 43? If we do see that, then I'm very confident we will see that 50,000 magic mark tomorrow. But if we're going to stay here, it's going to be kind of hard. But I will stick with it. I think there's something to this max pain theory that I covered last night. If you didn't watch it, make sure you do so. There's something to it. There is actually an official term for it. It is something that a lot of traders actually follow. It's actually a trading strategy to follow the max pain price. So that could be something that we're seeing tomorrow. So make sure you pay attention to that. But in the meantime, while Bitcoin is doing slightly better than yesterday, altcoins and entire market is doing slightly better than yesterday. You can see we're back up to 1.72 trillion. So not too shabby, not too shabby. Bitcoin dominance is still hovering in the 42 percentile. It was as high as 45, 44, 43, 42, and we're kind of just stuck there. So I think the market's kind of trying to decide what's going on. What's going on? If the retail investors, if they're like, I'll go put all their money in right now, I think all eyes are on Bitcoin still. There's still a lot of fear. There's still a lot of people that are claiming it's a dead cat bounce or we're going to retest 30,000. I mean, there's a lot of people that are just saying a lot of stuff. No one really knows, right? But there is a lot of fear, a lot of hesitation. But I did catch Raul Pal's interview with Rand this morning, and he said some good things. But, the funny thing is, I feel like everything he said and everything that he feels is going on is stuff that I've been saying for quite a long time. He even mentioned a logarithmic chart, which I've been showing you guys recently, the stock to flow. I've been showing you guys recently. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff about just holding and not trading. And he said a lot. It was a good interview. He's a really well-spoken guy. I'm jealous of his accent, but basically he concurs with everything I've been saying. So if you don't believe me, believe him. All right. Before I get into the top 10 altcoins, there is one thing I want to address, and that is this. I think this is the biggest news of today. It has nothing to do with crypto, yet it does. It does. So the new president, Joe Biden, proposes $6 trillion budget to make the U.S. more competitive. Of course, this relates to those of us that's in the U.S. $6 trillion. That's a lot. This is the most. This is going to be, if approved, this will be the most spending since World War II. Since World War II, and that is just for 2022. It will increase slightly every year until it gets to $8.2 trillion per year in 2031. And if you thought that if you thought that the trillions that were printed in 2020 and 2021 was a lot, this is 6 trillion plus every single year now. If approved. So what does that have to do with Bitcoin? Well, one of the fundamental things I've said to pay attention to is something going to happen with inflation? Is there going to be hyperinflation? Is there going to be just inflation in general, right? Is the dollar going to collapse? Is the dollar going to devalue itself? Well, you could say all of the above, really, because this is money just being printed out of nowhere, right? And it's being given out as almost like a stimulus, right? What Biden wants to do is invest more in infrastructure, education, healthcare, and so forth. But this is money that the U.S. does not have. This is money that the Federal Reserve is basically saying, yeah, we're just the U.S. Treasury is just going to say, okay, let's put 6 trillion more on the computer and let's be able to just, dish it out, right? This is one of the main reasons why people started, I take people back, why institutions started to buy Bitcoin. This has never happened before. Bitcoin was always seen as like a medium of exchange and or store value. But that narrative really changed to store value because of fears of inflation, because of COVID and the pandemic and everything else, right? So that's why a lot of the Wall Street guys that really did not care for Bitcoin have all changed their tune and have some Bitcoin just in case, because outside of gold, there's really no other good store value out there. And many are predicting that gold will lose its spot to Bitcoin, that slowly that people will transit to Bitcoin because, as Michael Saylor calls Bitcoin, a pharmaceutical grade of gold. One that has all the benefits and one that has none of the faults, right? So even though this has nothing to do with Bitcoin, this really does. It really does. Because inflation is coming. There's no way to avoid it. No matter how good tech is, because tech is supposed to be deflationary, no matter how good tech is, there will be a rise in prices. And all assets, all collectibles, all investments have basically skyrocketed in 2020 and 2021. And that's probably going to continue as people spend their money. They don't want to hold cash on hand because cash is just becoming more and more worthless as more and more is being printed every single day, every single year. And that will help. I do believe that will help Bitcoin and other crypto going forward, if approved. Again, this is just a proposal. I don't know if this is going to actually be approved, but if so, watch out. All right, so I just wanted to talk about that real quick. Now, let's get to this. So, top 10 must-hold altcoins. Now, these are ones I've covered a lot in the past, right? Some of these are great short-term plays. Some of these are longer-term plays. And most of these are I'm talking about when I say short-term, I don't mean like today and this week, right? I'm talking about within the next 6 months going into the end of this year. Now, in terms of long-term plays, of course, that's multi-years. Could be 1 year, 3 year, 5 year holds, right? So there is a difference, but still, I think these are worth holding on to, and this is not the end-all, be-all list. These are just ones that I really like. I think they have a lot of momentum. They have a lot of followers. They have a great team. They have a great idea, and I think they're just worth holding on to, right? And this is in addition to Bitcoin. I don't have to say that, right? Bitcoin should be in everyone's portfolio. you should be following something like the 50-25-25 rule, which is 50% in Bitcoin, and then the rest, 50% in altcoins, but 50% of that in big cap, 25% of that in big caps, and 25% in mid to small caps. So that's, I think, a really good portfolio breakup, and that'll do very well if you follow that. And even Raul Paul's, he said his portfolio was 25, 55, 20 or something like that. It's a little bit off. He's more heavier in big caps, which I think is okay too, because they have been holding very well. But ultimately, you still want to be diversified. You don't want to be too heavy in one or another, right? Unless you choose to be 100% in Bitcoin, which is still fine, like Michael Saylor. All right. So with that said, Bitcoin, I don't have to talk about it, okay? Number one is Ethereum. You just have to put Ethereum in there. You just have to. No matter how many Cardano guys will bash you and say Cardano is the future and Ethereum is going to die, Ethereum, you just have to. Now, will Ethereum be around 3 to 5 years? I don't know. There's a possibility it could be overthrown by then. But within the next 6 months, going to the end of this year, it's not going to go anywhere. It's probably going to stay at number one. And there's institutions that's involved now. They're buying Ether, right? And everyone's looking towards EIP 5059, which will make it deflationary. Also, they're looking forward to Optimism rollout, which is a native layer 2 solution. And they're looking forward to ETH 2.0, which could be done by the end of the year or maybe the beginning of next year, right? So Ethereum, you just have to hold it. It's the big dog when it comes to smart contract plays. All right, so that's Ethereum. Number two is Tether. No, I'm just kidding. Number two is Binance Coin. And that's because Binance is the biggest change by far. It's not even close. It's like 10 times bigger than Coinbase. So I'll give you a perspective. So Binance, they're not going to go away anytime soon. They have multiple exchanges. They have their own DEX. They have Binance Smart Chain, which is a big deal. Their coin is deflationary, which is a big deal. There's coin burns and so forth. And Binance Smart Chain is rocking right now. You have a whole bunch of DeFi projects that are really popular. More that's coming to Binance Smart Chain. And they're about to launch all these NFT marketplaces, which hasn't existed before. So that could really carry them. So Binance Coin, definitely here to stay. I think Binance Coin is definitely a long-term hold, because I don't see Binance going away anytime soon. They're just becoming bigger and bigger and bigger over time. Next one, right below, Cardano. Cardano, you gotta, at this point, I know Cardano is like a love or hate relationship. People love it or people hate it and call it vaporware. But at this point, despite the fact they're not done, they don't have Goguen, they don't have smart contracts yet, they're still at number 5. And that's because that shows you how many people actually believe in this project, really love Charles, love their progress, and think that Cardano will overthrow Ethereum in the near future, right? So with that kind of conviction and faith from people, and the fact that Goguen is right around the corner, that they will get smart contracts soon, and they will get all this fancy DeFi and NFT marketplaces coming, you got to think that they're going to gain a big boost from that going forward. Even with Goguen, there's still a couple more phases, but those phases on the roadmap should be much faster to implement. So Cardano should be coming to completion, I would say, by the end of the year. So, of course, Cardano is definitely one to hold as well. All right, so next one is going to be controversial, and a lot of you guys will hate it. But I think you got to hold some Dogecoin at this point. And I know people hate it. I know people hate what Elon did and how he keeps shilling and stuff like that. I think just like Cardano, you have such large number of people that are holding it now. And you could argue all the Robinhood people that are looking to become millionaires overnight. But when you have Elon and Mark Cuban and everyone else that's getting involved and trying to create something for it, you know there's going to be an ecosystem that's coming soon to Dogecoin, right? So at this point, I do think you need to have some Dogecoin. It is at number 7, right below XRP. Even with the current dip, it did not dip any further or faster than anything else in the big caps. It shows you how strong the people that are holding Dogecoin, kind of like, I guess, the people that are holding AMC or GME that refuse to sell it, right? That's kind of the same thing with Dogecoin. So I'm going to recommend Dogecoin as well. It doesn't mean that it has a big percentage of your portfolio, but just a small amount. Even Raoul Paul said that this morning too. He said he holds some Dogecoin. I think I think a lot of people do. They're just afraid to admit it. Going down the list, I'm going to skip through a few of these. They're fantastic projects. There's nothing wrong with basically any project in the top 10. Because for example, I skipped over XRP. There's nothing wrong with holding some XRP too. Nothing wrong with holding Polkadot, Uniswap, and Chainlink, and I guess Litecoin. ICP, I'm not sold, so I'm going to skip over that too. But the next one I do think is Polygon. And the reason being, and I know people will say, well, you're just jumping on bandwagon because it's pumped up. No, I actually talked about Polygon way back in the day too. But the reason why is because if you look at the EVM compatible chains, the ones that DeFi projects are moving to. I've talked about Binance Smart Chain. After that, it's Polygon. It's really like a toss-up between these two. Whenever you hear about big Ethereum-based dApps that's moving away from Ethereum, it's either Binance Smart Chain or Polygon at this point. You really don't hear about them moving to another chain because these other chains, like let's say if you go to Solana, you have to reprogram everything. It's not based on Solidity or EVM. So Polygon definitely, I think, has that traction, that network effect. It keeps growing. Mark Cuban just invested in them. So I do think Polygon will continue forward. And at this growth rate, they can be at, like, say, number 8, right behind or above Polkadot. The way they're going, that would not surprise me. That would not surprise me at all. So I do like Polygon quite a bit. I think it's a must hold right now. How many is that already? I mean, I think I might run out of numbers here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5. That's 5 already. That's 5 already. Number 6 is Solana. And I do like Solana quite a bit, mainly because they do have a lot of traction. There's a lot of things spinning up on Solana. They're a brand new chain. But the biggest thing I like is FTX and Alameda Research. They're basically controlled by the same guy, Sam. But very smart guy, has a ton of money, investing a ton into Solana. I get pitched all the time by new Solana projects. Every single one, literally every single one, is invested by Alameda. I mean, Alameda is going like crazy with every single dApp that's coming on board Solana. So I don't think that's going to stop. I think that's only going to continue. So I think they will be a powerhouse in the future. I mean, they already are. They're a big cap, or they were a big cap. I think they'll continue. So I think Solana is also another one. Moving down the list, of course, I got to talk about Vechain and also Theta. They're just back and back. They were big caps, falling a little bit, right? Falling, I think they're about 30 or 40% down from the previous highs. Both of these I really like. Vechain, you guys, I've created videos. I've been supporting them since 2017. But the biggest blockchain project out of China by far. They have some of the biggest project or companies that are already utilizing them as partners. And I think they have a huge in with China. And we know China is going all out with digital yuan, their digital wallets. They're all about, I guess, control and self-preservation. So when they do open up crypto trading, you know what, companies like Vechain will benefit tremendously. But even without that, you know, they're doing just fine right now. So Vechain, I do love. And also Theta. I think Theta is a powerhouse. If you're looking for someone that can actually compete with the likes of YouTube in the future or Twitch, Theta is the closest thing we have. They have an enormous ecosystem. They have an enormous platform. And their Theta 3.0 is coming out, which is going to really involve NFTs. Right now they have some NFTs, but they're going full-blown NFTs. They have different ways to stake. They have dual tokens. And they do have channels already, and they do have a streaming platform already that it is used. It's nowhere near as big as Twitch or YouTube. But like I said, they're the closest thing that we have, right? So I do think they're here to stay, and they're going to get a big boost once their mainnet 3.0 comes out sometime in July. All right, so I think that's 7 already. So I'm running out of numbers. And again, I'm skipping a lot of these because, I think they're good, but they're just not like ultimate must holds, right? I'm going to go down a little bit and I'm going to settle, data fuel, T fuel is another one. I'm going to settle at another one that maybe, yeah, oops, where did it go? Maybe I missed it. Oh, where did it go? Shoot. Where is it? I'm looking for Enjin. Oh, there we go. Oh, sorry. Sorry if I gave you guys a headache. Next one is Enjin. And Enjin has done well, but they stalled out. But in my opinion, when it comes to NFTs, you have to have Enjin in your portfolio. They have vast number of partnerships that people overlook. Like, for example, they have a great relationship with Samsung. Also, they do have this token creation, like kind of white label solution. So other NFT projects like Chili's can use. So they have their own standard. They have an enormous marketplace for NFTs. They're really involved with games, really well tuned with games. And they're building out their own layer 2 solution and their own chain. So I think Enjin is definitely a powerhouse, especially when it comes to NFTs. They're often overlooked, but I do think they're here to stay and definitely one of those long-term holds. So that's number 8. I mean, I hate to skip through so many. Like, for example, I love Helium and Basic Attention Token. I love those. I think they're going to do very well also, but I'm going to skip down a little bit. I think Harmony is another one. Harmony is one that I picked up maybe a few months ago, discovered them, but I do think that they also have huge potential because of the fact that they are a EVM compatible chain. They do have basically they're ETH2. They're Solidity compatible, EVM compatible. They have sharding implemented already, which means they're very fast finality rate, and they have a whole bunch of DeFi stuff that's spinning up. So they're early. They're not as big as, say, Polygon, right? But they're definitely getting up there. So I'd say Harmony is another one of those must holds right now. And like the remaining ones, I mean, there's just so many. There's so many out there. I would say I think Phantom could also do the same as Harmony because they're very, very similar. In terms of like Bakery Token is another one. I guess it's really like more than 10, but I just want to stick with 10 for now. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones I'm skipping over here too. I'm going to go back to page 1. I'm going to add another one that I haven't talked a lot about, but I'm just going to add in, where is it? You know what? I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to add in Uniswap too. I skipped over it, but I'm going to play it safe and add in Uniswap too. Because there's a lot of AMMs out there, and I'm a very big fan of PancakeSwap, and SushiSwap isn't doing bad either. And Bakery Token, which used to be AMM, they still are, but they're more NFTs. But I will say Uniswap should be in there too, because Uniswap is still considered, the name recognition is there. All the most fancy new dApps that come out, they all try to get listed on Uniswap. They're backed by Coinbase, and their V3 came out, but they're waiting for Optimism to come out because they're going to utilize them as a layer 2, right? So that kind of halted their progress a little bit because Optimism got delayed. But when Optimism comes out, they're going to utilize them and actually really, I guess, decrease their fees and so forth, right? So I think Uniswap is also another one. And Uniswap is itself, not only can you trade you and I on themselves, but all the major exchanges also have Uniswap too. Like every single major US exchange has Uniswap listed. So that also helps them as well. So I'll just round out number 10 with Uniswap. All right. So hopefully that's, you guys got all that. I just kind of went off my head here. Again, there's a lot more projects I like, but I think these 10 are really must hold at this point. Some short term, some long term. All right. So now, before I get into Q&A, new sponsor today. So this is a project called Parsiq. And a lot of you guys have heard of this before, have asked me about this before. And the best way to think about Parsiq is they are a data monitoring and execution software. So what does that mean? All right, what does that mean? Well, you could utilize Parsiq to basically analyze what's going on in a blockchain, and then you could utilize that data to cause some kind of effect to happen. For example, if you want to be notified, you could trigger something like, hey, if Bitcoin sells off or Bitcoin goes up and pumps, right? You want to know about it. So you could program it so that not only can you monitor all these things, but you could say send it to like an off-chain app, for example, like Telegram, right? Or Slack. And there's many other apps there that's compatible with them. So it's almost like if you are thinking about IFTTT, if you ever used that before, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. But this is all about, monitoring the blockchain, looking at these events, right? And then creating like almost bots or warnings or notifications based on what you're seeing, right? So that is what Parsiq is really about. And they're really, really well integrated because they're not just based on Ethereum, which, yes, they're compatible, of course, with Ethereum, but you could also do this with Binance Smart Chain, so that's huge. Also, Solana, that's huge. And then they have others like Celo and Dash and even Algorand. So they're multi-chain compatible too, and I'm sure they're going to probably build it for Cardano with Dun and Polkadot and others, right? But they have all the major chains out there already. And also recently, they did onboard a brand new advisor, Evan Chang. I didn't know this, but he's advisor for Chainlink. He was involved with Chainlink and Zilliqa. He was also head of Novi Research at Facebook. And it's just someone that's really well respected, someone that's really well known in the industry. And he has joined them as an advisor and investor recently. So that's Parsiq. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, they were added on KuCoin recently too. They were listed, 3 days ago? 3 days ago? So now they're on a pretty good exchange as well. One that I really like. I like KuCoin quite a bit. So that's Parsiq in a nutshell. If you want to check them out, their URL is in the description of this video. All right, let's do some Q&A. Desert67 asks, when will Solana be offered on Gemini? Probably in the near future. Solana was just announced they will be added on Coinbase, right? I don't think that it took place yet, but it'll probably be pretty soon. Yeah, and people that are tuning in late, you know what? I addressed this at the very beginning. I know a lot of people, think it's funny or it's fun to, start spamming my name in other people's channels like BitBoys. I would say back off, guys. I know, periodically or whatever, a few times is fine, but when you're doing it so much to cause him to actually ban George from his live chat, that's going too far. So I love your support. I love everyone's support, but, don't try to spam other people's channel, right? That's just going too far. All right, what else is there? Akashe asks, other than BlockFi, 3 best, safest, high return staking platform for Bitcoin, ETH, and ADA long term. Well, ADA, I would argue that, everyone just stakes natively into like a node, and you're getting like 6%, I think. But outside, almost everyone does it because ADA also, I forgot, Cardano is like 70% of supply is staked, over 70%, which is crazy. But outside of BlockFi, you have Celsius, which is really well known, reputable, and also Nexo. I don't hear so much about Nexo, but they're like rounding out the top 3. I remember you looking at Trias some time ago. I looked into it. It seems like an amazing project. Trias, yeah, it seems promising. There was too many people that was trying to shill it, but created by a professor, like I think an MIT professor or something like that. It's a really complicated website. I don't even fully understand it, but it's a promising new blockchain that's meant to run dApps in a different way that's supposed to be more secure, faster, and all this stuff. So, and BPro I still like. I think they're still executing. I think people are expecting too much. I've only covered BPro like 2 months ago, and people keep constantly hounding me for updates. You got to realize it's not that fast that these projects can just like promise the moon and actually execute. It takes a long time to do some of these things. I mean, case in point, look at Cardano, right? So I think BPro is they're fine. They're still executing. Elijah says, have your thoughts on yields changed? I was overthinking the secret code. I finally got. I'm glad, because I think everyone is overthinking the secret code. All right, sorry about that. I'm still neutral on yields. I'm not sure. Dan, kind of flaky. Leave the project, come back unofficially. I don't know if he's gonna leave again. There's no big announcement. I don't know. I'm still kind of neutral on them. Thoughts on the Elon token? I don't know what project that is. Getcoin governance token. No idea who they are. Shape the future digital public goods with Getcoin's governance token. Build and fund the open web together. Earn, learn, connect, fund. Millions in open source project funding. We help 1,000 project. So they're like a DAO, kind of. They're just like a project that is trying to help others get off the ground. All right. They're so-so. Not something that interests me. Prometheus look good, but I can't talk about them because they just got, it wasn't me, but some pump group just pumped them to the moon. So they have to come back down before I really get back into them. I forgot what they were about, but I remember they were looking good before. Someone asked, if you're short on a budget and could choose only one between Theta and T-Fuel, what would you choose? Theta, because Theta is capped. T-Fuel is not. Epic Prime, never heard of it. Would you rather lose your limbs or never be able to have a normal functioning life, or buy Shiba? I buy Dogecoin. Oh shoot, I just closed my chat. Alexander, okay, thank you. What's your call on ADA and XRP? I would much rather buy Cardano at this point than XRP. XRP could still pump. I still do think that holding some XRP in your portfolio is probably a wise move, but Cardano, I think, has a much brighter future. What do you think about the graph? Reverse head and shoulders pattern. A lot of, graph seems next. Could be. I don't really care about inverse head and shoulders, but as a project, I think they're very necessary in the DeFi space, and I do think that they're a good project. I don't have thoughts on Qtum. I don't really know what they're doing. Algorand, they're trying to get involved with more DeFi stuff. Like Parsiq is involved with the Algorand too. I think they're led by a good leader. I know Charles likes them quite a bit. He likes, people that are like really, really scientific, I guess. I don't know. I don't hear a lot about like dApps and stuff moving on board. So, how about no one talks about ontology? They kind of lost it. They're kind of like their sister chain to Neo. Kind of from the same roots, but they're more based on digital ID. Even though they're a full-fledged blockchain with their own smart contracts, but they're more like digital ID service. So I guess it's just not something that a lot of people pay attention to. And I honestly don't hear anything about them. It's one of those projects that does no PR at all. None. Even Neo doesn't. But at least Neo has a name recognition. You know, they're still trying to come out with their new Neo 3, but Ontology, I really don't know what's going on with them. Steven, thank you. Stego, thank you. Thoughts on holding Doge? I've said it. I named Doge as one of my top 10. I know it might be controversial, but at this point, there's just so many people that's holding it. Everyone is talking about it. You got big billionaires that's talking about it and holding it and trying to create use cases for it. So I say it's a hold. It's a hold. Michael, hey George, should I buy BTC or ETH at the current price or just hold on now and wait? That's hard to say. Both are down significantly for an all-time high. So I would say, you know, obviously buying a few days ago when Bitcoin was still like 30, 32 is a better buy. But like right now compared to 64, yeah, it's still a good buy. Same thing with Ethereum, right? So you don't want to go all in. It's definitely, they're both at a discount right now. So if you want to buy in, sprout your buys. Sprout your buys, buy a little bit. If it goes down, like you said, you're right, buy a little more, right? But if it doesn't and continues up, at least you made some move, right? So I think you just sprout your buys. Picked up some Venus during the dip. Do you see them surpassing their all-time high this cycle? Yes. There's no bigger competitor. You know, there's not even any competitor to Venus on Binance Smart Chain. They're like the sole, you know, sole lending project right now. So I think so. Yes. Akira Network is real. Did you check? Yeah, I covered them before. I mean, they're not a full-fledged project yet. They are still working at it. So yeah. And why do you think it's shady? What do you think is shady? Any thoughts on Cody? I do like Cody. They help their payment project, and they're helping Cardano. In fact, they partner with Cardano. This whole Africa thing, besides digital IDs, another part of it is to create payments for the unbanked, and Cody is working with Cardano with that. So pretty good, pretty good. Alexander, Telcoin. I know you like Telcoin. Australia, Singapore, US corridors will hopefully come on Q2. Yes. Nebraska, yes. A lot of people seem to love Telcoin. I was actually going to say Telcoin in my top 10, but I feel like it's a project that I haven't really supported before because I just felt like there was a very long time where they kind of just gave up, but then they kind of came back, right? So I'm still waiting to see how they do, but they definitely have been doing very well in terms of price movement at least. And I have checked out their blog, and I have seen that they have opened up all these new corridors for remittance, and if they get this bank in Nebraska, it's probably going to help them too. So they've definitely been picking it up, and they have like, you know, teams. I think they have a team now in San Francisco too, office in San Francisco. They'll probably draw some more, you know, developers to them too by having an office there. Thoughts on Uniswap using Arbitrum and impact they'll have on Polygon. Yeah, Arbitrum. I don't even know what project that is. Is it like a layer 2? Because there was supposed to be. So I mean, in regards to that, some people have asked me, hey, if Ethereum goes to like optimism, right, is it going to hurt someone like Polygon? My answer is no, because I do think that Polygon has its own ecosystem now. It started out as a layer 2, but now it has its own ecosystem where it can stand on its own. So it's just operating as another chain that has its own ecosystem, that has its own DeFi, NFTs, and stuff like that, and swap plays and all this stuff. And they can continue to lure people onto the chain. You know, they're gonna do fine. And I don't think all these projects that moved away from Ethereum will just come right back with optimism, because a lot of them have moved already, so they're probably gonna stick where they are. Hedera, I think they're okay. I would say just not my cup of tea. They do things a little bit differently, but I know Chainlink just joined their console recently, so I guess that's a big endorsement. I haven't looked into Wanchain recently, but they're all about DeFi too. And they do have their own ecosystem. They have their own dApps. They're basically like a protocol play to help others get involved with DeFi, but they have their own. They have their own swap play and DeFi play, their own pool, their own wallet. I mean, they have a lot. So I haven't checked them recently, actually, but I did cover them in Patreon not too long ago. Yeah, nowhere near their previous highs, but and they were doing well, but they kind of dropped off recently because of the dip. Yeah, kind of interesting. Out of China too. All right, that's it, guys. I'm gonna let you guys go. Today is actually a really long stream. Today is a long stream. All right, so Bitcoin is doing well, above 39,000, right? I predicted that we could see 50,000 tomorrow because of max pain. But in order for that to happen, we got to see some movement tonight, right? This afternoon, tonight, are we going to see it go up past 42, 43? So I'd say that 50,000 around the corner. But if we're not, and we just kind of hover there, or maybe go down a little bit, then we're probably not going to see it. But you know what? There's still time. There's still time. Bitcoin does move strangely and massively for an unknown reason sometimes, and this could be one of them. So we'll see. But in the meantime, altcoins are doing pretty good. I covered 10 altcoins that I feel like are must holds. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And lastly, I just want to say, yeah, don't spam George or I am George on other people's channels. It's not cool. It's not cool. If you do it jokingly, you troll once in a while, fine. But if you're actively trying to piss someone else off by spamming my name, you're not doing anyone favors and you're not doing me any favors. So please stop that. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. As always, smash a like, subscribe to the channel, and tune in tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right, take care, guys.